John Miller here. I want to thank you for joining me today. We're going to be taking a look at behind the numbers on repair event cycle time. We're going to dive in and see if we can find out any trends that we didn't see before. Before we get started though, I want to remind everybody of the bottleneck components, what makes up each of these major bottlenecks. For warranty coverage, we have start days. It's the average of the maximum days from the start of the work order to the start of labor, so how long it took to get that last job started. Job days, the average number of days from the first labor date to the last labor date, so how long it took to complete all the jobs on that work order. And delivery days, average days from the last labor date to the work order completion date, how long it took after we completed the labor to get the unit back to the customer. The components on the for out-of-stock parts was identification days, the average of maximum days from the start of the work order to the date the last purchase order is issued, so the last order date, how long it took us to identify all the parts that were needed for the repair. Lead time days, the average days from the date the first purchase order is issued to the date the last part is received, how long it took to get in all the parts needed for the repair. And repair wait days, the average of the maximum days from the date the part was received to the date of last labor. So how long after we received the last part did it take us to complete that repair time? So now moving on, we've got the review of those. When we take a look at repair event cycle time for warranty, the dark green line at the top is the average repair event cycle time for all the work orders that had at least one warranty item. The components down here at the bottom, if we slide this down and get it out of the way a little bit, we can see that we're seeing some increases in these components. The dark blue line on the top is the start days. As you see that it used to average about 12 days in the quarter, and is now up to 20 days. The orange line in the center there is job days, how long it takes to complete all the jobs. That's increased up to about 17 days from 9 days. And then the blue line at the bottom is the delivery days. Again, how long after we complete the repair did it take to get us back to the customer. And if we look at that by quarter, and we look just the second quarter, you can see that we're starting to really see an increase. The first 3 years, what I consider pre-pandemic, we really didn't see much of an increase. But since the pandemic started, that number starting to get pretty high, with start days taking the lead there by going up quite a bit, as well as job days. Job days and start days has really increased significantly. If we take a look at those start days and look at these individual components, the way I wanted to slice it was to take a look and see how the other bottleneck is impacting this bottleneck. So we take a look at start days, and we see the white line or pale blue line at the bottom is the average when there's in-stock parts, and the dark blue line is the average when there's out-of-stock parts. And as you can see, there's a pretty significant difference, and starting in about Q3, that gap started growing considerably more. And if you take a look at just the quarters, you can see that we're definitely headed in the wrong direction. For the quarter, though, that baseline start days when the part was in stock stayed pretty consistent. When parts out of stock, though, here Q2 and Q3 of 2021, it's Q2 of 2022. It's getting up there pretty high. It's starting to trend in the wrong direction. And that dotted blue line in the middle again represents the average for all of the warranty work orders start days. And the fact that it's closer to the bottom indicates that fewer of the work orders were impacted. A fewer percentage of the work orders with warranty were impacted by out-of-stock parts because that average is much closer to the bottom. Now we're going to take a look at job days. Same thing applies. The light colored line at the bottom is when there's in-stock parts, and the darker line at the top is when there's an out-of-stock part. And again, you can see that stayed pretty consistent on the differences, about 15 days or more back 2018, 2019, 2020, but now it's starting to creep up, and we're seeing a pretty significant increase on job days for warranty when the part is out of stock. And again, the average is closer to the bottom, again, because there's a lower percentage of the warranty claims affected by both bottlenecks. And if we look at Q2, again, that's obviously going in the wrong direction. Even started in Q2 of 2020, that started going in the wrong direction. It's a pretty significant increase when they have both warranty and out-of-stock part. And delivery days, like I said, not a lot of difference there. We are starting to see a little bit more of an incline here, about 7 days more, 5 days more than it used to be. And back here it was just a couple days, but again, not a major increase over the last couple of years, but some. And I think it's really driven by those out-of-stock parts taking a while to get in, and the customers just not wanting to be in a big hurry at that point. If we take a look at the components for out-of-stock parts. Now again, the out-of-stock part average for all the work orders that had out-of-stock parts used to be right around the 50 to 60 mark. It's now creeping up to the 90 mark. If we drill this down where we can see those individual components, we can see the dark blue line is ID days, again, how long it took to identify all the parts needed for the repair, and that's crept up quite a bit. The orange line, lead time days, how long it takes for all of the parts needed for the repair to come in, all of them, not just one part, but all the parts. And repair wait days, how long after that last part was received did it take to repair the vehicle. And as you can see, those are all creeping up significantly, starting in Q3-ish of 2020. And it's almost doubled. Every one of them has almost doubled over the last couple 18 months or so. Let's take a look at those individually and see how the other bottleneck is impacting it. Again, the lighter colored line at the bottom, this is ID days, identification days when there's no warranty coverage. Those are crept up a little bit. ID days, the darker line is identification days when there is warranty coverage. And as you can see, there's not a lot of difference, not a big spread. It's starting to creep up a little bit more, about 8 or 9 days difference there versus the 3 or 4 days it used to be. When you look at just the quarter, again, not a huge impact. I can almost guarantee that warranty has very little impact on identification days, how long it takes to identify the issues and order the parts. What I think it does have an impact on those, we take a look at lead time days. And here with lead time days, we're starting to see that gap really jump up here towards the quarter of this year. And as you can see, it's starting to get going where the lead time days, how long it takes to get in all the parts, is more impacted by warranty. Actually, it's adding almost 15 days now, whereas back in Q2 here, it only added 6 days. So it is a considerable difference, and the spread is getting greater, unfortunately, where lead time days, how long it takes to get in all the parts, is impacted by warranty. Now, that might be waiting for authorization before you can order that last part, or you might find the part later once you get into it. It can vary a lot of different ways. Repair wait days, again, the lighter color is when there's no coverage, and the darker color is when there is warranty coverage. Same scenario, we're starting to see that separation. If we look at just the second quarter of 2018, it added about 7 days, 10 days, 10 days, 11 days, and now 17 days on average is being added to the repair wait days just because there's warranty coverage. So it's a pretty significant increase. So by slicing these repair event cycle time bottlenecks a little bit differently, we can really see the impact that both bottlenecks have when they're combined. If we look at we said earlier in our Q2 review that 47% of all work orders during the quarter had warranty coverage. That's this 47%, this green slice off to the side here. If you look at what portion of those warranty tickets had both bottlenecks, out-of-stock parts and warranty, that's about a third of those tickets, of those work orders. About a third of the work orders with warranty had both bottlenecks. And then when you look at the 23% of out-of-stock parts, this slice, you see that the overlap here is significantly greater. About 60% of the work orders with out-of-stock parts had both bottlenecks, had the combination of the two. Now what that means when we're taking a look at the actual repair event cycle times is pretty significant. And let's take a look at this. Get me out of the way here for a minute. Baseline, again, across the bottom, the yellow is how long it takes when there's no warranty and the part's in stock. The lighter yellow line is how long it takes when there's no warranty and the part's out of stock. The dark green line is how long it takes when there is warranty but the part is in stock. And then the light colored is that double whammy, the worst case scenario when there's both the overlap, both warranty and out of stock parts. And as you can see, it's a pretty significant increase. If we look at that increase and what the actual impact is of these bottlenecks over that baseline, like I say, here's the baseline. The dark blue is how long it took when there was no warranty and no part out of stock, parts in stock. The dark green line, or the lighter green line, excuse me, is when there's warranty and the parts in stock, and the dark green line is when there's warranty and the parts out of stock. The dreaded double whammy, the overlap between the two. And the dotted line is the average of all warranty work orders, regardless of parts availability. And as you can see, that average is closer to the bottom, again, because there's a smaller percentage of the warranty work orders affected by both bottlenecks. So it is quite a bit lower. When we look at that for out-of-stock parts, again, blue is the baseline. The lighter color is when there's just one bottleneck, just the out-of-stock part. And then the darker line is when there's both bottlenecks that overlap. Now here the average, as you can see, for all the work orders with an out-of-stock part, that 23%, is significantly higher than it was for warranty, because there's a significantly larger portion of the out-of-stock part work orders that are affected by both bottlenecks. So that double whammy, those both bottlenecks, really cause a problem. And I want to point that out a little bit more by showing the number of days added when there is warranty coverage. The yellow line at the bottom shows you how many days being added to that baseline when there's warranty coverage and the part's in stock. And that really hasn't changed much at all, staying pretty flat. Actually, if we look at it by quarter, just the second quarter, it really is averaging almost identical. But when there's a part out of stock and warranty claim, it's averaging 44 days in addition. So delay, 50 days, 52-day delay, 66-day delay, now a 92-day delay when there's both warranty and out of stock parts. And that's pretty significant. And looking at it from the out of stock part portion, if it's just an out of stock part with no warranty coverage, you're looking, adding a week at most during the pre-pandemic, and since then adding maybe 2 weeks. Again, not a massive increase for we are seeing a slight incline when there is no coverage, so parts availability is causing a little bit more of a delay, but it's still not the delay that warranty was causing. When there's warranty and out-of-stock parts, though, that double whammy, when there's that overlap, you see that significant increase. So basically, to summarize, when we look at the repair event cycle time, we've always looked at the average for all repair event cycle time and the average of the two main bottlenecks. One of the things I'm going to recommend is you take a look, because there's such a disparity or such a difference in the warranty and out-of-stock parts overlap as a percentage of warranty coverage. It's only 28% of warranty, but it's 58% of the out-of-stock parts. Drive down your numbers a little bit further. Look at that no coverage and in stock. Make sure that that's as smooth as it can be. No coverage and out of stock, warranty and in stock, and then obviously really pay attention to that overlapping gap there with warranty and out of stock parts. Take a look at it, because it's really having an impact on start days when there's both warranty and out of stock parts. Like I said, that's gone way high. Lead time days is really starting to see a separation here, especially in the last couple of months, but that obviously has been causing a 1 to 2 week delay. And repair wait time, that gap is spreading out even more and more. So I think it's fair to say that the overlap, when there's both, it really comes into play on lead time days, repair wait days, and start days. All right, so be sure to dive into your numbers, mine your data often. Look at that your lead time process, look at the repair wait process and start days, and really dive into the data. Your data is like gold. Mine it often, because there's a lot of little nuggets to be found in there. If you want to be notified every time we put a video out, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button so we know to do more videos like this. And I'd love to get your feedback. So be sure to put your thoughts in the comments below. And other than that, have a great day. We appreciate you.